Viewer discretion is advised. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, smoke, sometimes a lot, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents. I am Amanda.
I'm Lucy.
I was very heartwarmed to see some of the Reddit feedback about how loopy we got in the fur crimes episode. We did.
We did.
It was nuts. I could barely read. I'm going to try not to do that again today.
It was really fun.
It was really fun. So we're not going to not go down that avenue. Today's episode is brought to you by us. This is a gal's
You're
pick.
welcome.
And by us, we mean Lucy.
Hey, sometimes, listen, okay, I'll let you in on something that I probably let you in on before.
All right, let's get a peek behind your beef curtain.
At night, when I wake up at 3 a.m. and can't get back to sleep because I'm looking at my phone.
Correct.
Then I'll go, there's full episodes of Forensic Files on like Facebook videos.
Yes.
So I just go in there and just listen to multiple Forensic Files episodes with my eyes closed and my eye mask on till I drift back to sleep. Because I feel like it's more polite to my sleeping partner to not fully turn on the TV and have like the light and everything.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I come up with quite a few of my episode topic ideas.
You do.
Through that avenue.
You do. And I feel blessed because in searching for a case for today's topic, which I'm about to get to, I found a great case that inspired another gal's pick that I'm submitting for down the road. So
Okay.
I'm excited about that. Everybody wins.
We each have our own method.
We each have our own method. We have our own thing. But today's Gal's Pick episode is Luminol Crimes. Crimes solved, or at least maybe taken to court with the use of luminol evidence.
Yeah. This shit's fascinating.
It is. It is. And it is heavily featured in Forensic Files. Like, basically every episode.
Overly.
So yeah, Luminol Crimes, and I've got a little cocktail pairing for you this week because I did look up luminol cocktails.
That's where you got to start.
I got a recipe for how to make luminol with common household items, but I skipped that because I wondered if maybe you were going to include something similar, but that exists. And there's also a podcast with that name, so that's fun. But the few actual drinkable luminol cocktails that I could find were predictably bright blue.
Oh, some Curacao.
I couldn't do that to our listeners, even though I'm not drinking today because I've spoken. But if you want a very, very blue, painfully blue luminol cocktail, I promise you it's out there. I'm just not going to give you that recipe today. Instead, I wanted to share a cocktail recipe that I feel fits the theme while also sounding so fucking delicious. So I present to you today the Lumière.
Lumière.
Lumière. Hold up your little candles and dance around the house.
Aside with Cogsworth.
And be my guest or whatever. You are definitely the Lumière to my Cogsworth because I'm much more the Cogsworth of this duo. You are way cooler than me.
I took French in high school, too.
You did. Oui, you did. So,
and you have a mustache.
And I have a mustache. I do.
I'm just kidding.
I do.
No, you don't.
The first time I got my mustache waxed, it changed something in my DNA. Okay, so to make this cocktail, the Lumière, you take 1.5 ounces of Hendrick's gin, 3/4 ounces of green chartreuse liqueur.
Okay.
1/2 ounce of Saint Germain elderflower liqueur. So good in a gin drink. Oh my God. And 3/4 ounces of fresh squeezed lime juice, and then top it off with a dash of orange bitters. You shake that in your cocktail shaker, strain it into a chilled cocktail glass, and then lime wedge it and
Ooh.
Oh my God. The chartreuse is that green aspect adds like an herbal note to the cocktail. The Hendrix has some of that
wintergreen,
but also I feel like Hendrix has more of the cucumber aspect to it. And then, of course, you've got the Saint Germain, the elderflower. It's just that little hint of sweetness with the lime juice. So fucking good. It sounds amazing.
Delicious.
I know. So
I have 2 things to say about this.
Okay.
Number 1, I think a more accurate luminol colored beverage would, instead of blue curacao or UV blue, of course. Remember Hypnotic?
Oh,
Hypnotique?
yes.
It was like kind of milky blue.
Yes, that's much more of a luminol. Because, the luminol blue, it glows like that because of black light.
No.
I thought you shine a specific light on it, and that's what makes it glow.
Mm-mm. We'll get to it.
Oh, wow.
It
Or just it glows in the dark on its own.
Chemiluminescence instead of like bioluminescence. It just glows.
Oh, that's crazy. All right. Well, I clearly don't know shit about luminol, so we should probably...
Oh, wait. My other comment, though.
Oh, yes. What?
So something that I have always noticed when luminol is mentioned in like forensic files, someone will say, it lit up like a Christmas tree. Gin, Christmas tree. So when you were talking about cocktails, I was thinking, I hope it has gin. So you can light it up like a Christmas tree.
Oh my God. You are so good at finding connections.
It's the English major in me.
I can't believe it. Well,
I have to find a through line.
Please, if you make this at home, tag us in a picture of your cocktail because I want to see how it turns out and I want to get your review because it sounds so good and I'm going to make one this weekend. So please tag us on the socials in your Lumière for Luminol Crimes and tell us how it tasted.
Lumière.
All right.
Candle. I'm half a Lumière.
You are half a Lumière. Well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to get a second candle because we're going to take a break to hear a quick word from our sponsors. Y'all, I never have been a great gift giver, and Mother's Day is right around the corner, and I'm always stressing about what to get mom for Mother's Day, especially, when you get the classic mom, oh, don't get me anything. I don't need anything. Okay, well, you're my mother. Okay, I want to get her something that feels special, and Quince is there for me, solved it for me. Everything is so high quality. Everything feels super thoughtful, and it's actually affordable, so now you don't have to overthink it. You just go straight to Quince for your gift giving.
Speaking as a mother, I would love virtually anything off of the Quince website.
June just hands you a cashmere sweater.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, because their cashmere sweaters start at $50.
Yep.
They've got very affordable, beautiful 14-karat gold jewelry, Italian leather bags, fragrances. They've got it all. And the best part is all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. I'm shocked at the prices.
I know. Every time.
By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and just passes those savings straight on to you. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and very premium fabrics and finishes, which we love. They've got such adorable stuff. I know I always rave about my laptop bag.
Yes.
It's black Italian leather, gold accents. It could not be cuter. And I have also been eyeing their like linen pants and shorts for the spring. I have a wish list. It's on my Mother's Day wish list.
Oh, so cute. I'm definitely going to get my mom some jewelry. Oh, I love all of their jewelry. It's so cute. Thoughtful, timeless, totally her. Shop Mother's Day at Quince. Go to quince.com/wine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/wine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/wine.
You tell yourself, I'm just going to read one more chapter, just one more chapter, just one more chapter. But suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're like, oh my God, I need to go to sleep, but I also need to know what happens next. I need to know how it ends. With Galatea's endless library of bingeable, can't stop reading romances, sleep is overrated anyway.
I totally want to reconnect with like the version of myself when I was like 11 or 12 that was an insatiable reader.
Yes,
and really
voracious.
would like up all night with the flashlight under the covers to read without getting like caught by your mom. And I feel like this app totally provides the safe space for you to dive into that. Yeah, exactly. Because Galatea is a reading app where anyone craving a little me time can dive into a library of romance stories that leave you feeling recharged and fulfilled. And like, what is gonna hook me more than a romance story in my late 30s, you know? There are over 1,000 bestsellers to choose from shifter romance to bad boy billionaires, forbidden love, werewolf alphas, slow burn fantasy, teen drama, and much, much more. So there is something in that library that will keep you up under the covers reading and reading and reading.
Medieval.
Galatea is home to original series and standalone stories with an exclusive catalog of best-selling authors with new chapters dropping daily. So there is always something new to explore. You're not going to run out of content, baby. Over 30 million people have fallen in love with reading on Galatea. So join now to indulge in stories that make you feel like yourself again.
Right now, Galatea is offering our listeners an extra 25% off on top of an already irresistibly affordable subscription when you go to galatea.com/gals. That's GALATEA.com/gals to indulge in unlimited stories for even less. Galatea.com/gals.
Okay, y'all, you know I am an ADHD girly with the object permanence of a little tiny baby. So if it's not in front of my eyes, and that includes like important things, sometimes that includes people. Like if I don't see it, if I'm not interacting with it, it's possible that to right now, Amanda, it doesn't exist. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that applies so often to spending, that out of sight, out of mind, if you're not like diligently tracking your spending, and like who has time for that? And all of these things that become just regular parts of our routine can add up really quickly. Like going to the coffee shop every day, having all these streaming services that you're actually not using, but you signed up for it that one time so you could binge that one show and then forgot to get rid of it before your free trial ended. Oh no, does that sound like you?
Yes.
Okay, well, Rocket Money helps you spot those patterns so that you can do something about them and keep more money in your pocket.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Every time I get an email from Rocket Money, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Someone's looking out.
Yep.
Because it'll be like, oh, this subscription increased. Do you want to still keep it?
She's your financial fairy godmother.
She really is. I feel blessed to have Rocket Money in my life. Rocket Money's dashboard is so easy to use. It gives you a crystal clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. You can set a budget. It's just so responsible for you. They also have a new goals feature that automatically saves money for you so you don't have to think about it.
That's a good out of sight, out of mind. That's swirling away.
Set it and forget it. So you can help pay off bills, put away money for a house or a vacation, or just build your savings. Rocket Money has made it so easy. And like I mentioned, they'll even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save, and then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to.
Music to my ears.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features.
So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, Wine and Crime, in the survey so they'll know we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show. And we're back. Lucy, please tell us your background, your psych, your case, I'm assuming, for Luminol Crimes.
Honestly, my segment is becoming much less psych and more just background and a case.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm going to leave the door open to psych whenever psych is appropriate. And
if there's a heavy amount of background and psych, I will opt for that over a case any day
100%.
If it's important information.
100%.
There's no psych for Luminol.
I trust your editorial eye on this.
Okay.
And
great.
all things.
Well, I hope our listeners do too. Trust me, like that song in the Jungle Book with the snake.
Trust in me.
Just in me.
Ugh.
that soundtrack it fucking slaps. The original Jungle Book soundtrack. It's like jazzy. There's like some scat.
Bare Necessities is a banger.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's start by noting that forensic science has been practiced by humans for a long, long time. I also think that like bonobos kind of have an understanding of forensics.
That's amazing.
Can't back that up with anything, but I'm just putting it out there into the universe, hoping that it's true.
I saw it sometime maybe on TikTok, so maybe that's true. My friend Shay messaged me the other day like, oh my God, I thought of you. I saw this article that narwhals have returned to this like bay. They lives in Seattle or whatever. He's like, and I thought of you because I know you love narwhals. And he was super high when he was messaging me this. And I was like, oh my God.
Did you think they didn't exist?
For a while, I did think that. Oh my God, you have the thumbs down again. Anyway. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I fucking love narwhals. I love that you thought of me when you saw this fact. And then he had like a full crash out voice memo because he was super high and went back to look for the article and realized it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, what a stupid April Fool's
Oh, I was
joke.
so pissed. I was like, this is not your fucking fault. April Fools should be illegal.
I fell for a joke April Fool's TikTok that was like, the new season of Traitors cast list has leaked.
Oh.
And she was going through it and I was like, yes, yes. One of them was Judge Judy.
Stop.
Jojo Siwa.
All right, well, I can do without that. But Judge Judy would be iconic.
Martha Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, and this, of course, is a joke because it's April Fool's Day. I was like, fuck you. I was about to send it to everyone I know. Anyway, I am one sentence in. Okay.
That's a crime. Continue.
So a long time ago, people would be like, oh, he was wet and he was found near water, so he drowned.
Sure.
And like, oh, that body on the side of the road looks beat to shit. I bet he fell from his horse and got dragged.
It's got a horse mark on it, a hoof mark on it. He was stepped on. Yeah.
Yeah. However, if anyone accused someone else of doing the killing, like the murdering, then that would usually take precedence over any physical evidence because then it was just a simple act of torture to coerce a confession and then, oh, it's solved. So it wasn't watertight.
No.
In the 12th century, the Chinese were credited with being the first to attempt to define the difference between a natural act and criminal intent.
Okay.
So, like, did she fall off the balcony or was she pushed?
Yep. Okay.
Sun Tzu had a book called The Washing Away of Wrong. Love that.
Drama queen. Okay.
I know. They're so dramatic. That had some pretty interesting observations in it. So, one, drowning victims will have water in their lungs. And number two, if there's damage to the cartilage of the neck, then the victim was probably killed by strangulation.
Okay.
So this to us today sounds like really elementary, but because it's being written down, this is the first time it's being written down and therefore like codified.
Yep.
The book actually became an official text for coroners of the time.
Wow.
So they implemented these ideas pretty much immediately because, you know, duh.
Yeah, they were sound. They made sense. And they're, fairly easy for doctors or investigators, either conducting autopsy or just reviewing autopsy, to put those pieces together. It's basic forensic science.
Yes. So Professor Mathieu Orfila, an expert of medicinal chemistry at the University of Paris, and whom we've discussed in 3 previous episodes.
And whose favorite cocktail is the Lumière, I heard on a TikTok.
Word on the street.
Word on the street is.
So if you want to hear more about Mathieu Orfila, we've got him in Forensic Firsts, Poison Crimes, and Forensic Toxicology.
Cool, okay.
So he became known as the father of toxicology in 1813 after he published Traite de Poison.
Le poisson, he, ha, ha, ha.
Well, that's fish.
Yup.
What I'm trying to say is French for poisons.
Sure.
Book about poisons.
I love it.
So he was also the first to be credited with attempting to use a microscope to assess blood and semen stains.
Oh, dang. Cool.
Yep. In the 1800s, fingerprints and hair began to be used as evidence for criminal investigations. So all of this is to say that today We stand on the shoulders of those that were staring at crusty semen through shitty microscopes.
Back then, you had to taste it. Only way to know.
You gotta roll it around on your tongue.
And then this fish lover guy came in and was like, I'm sick of licking these stains. What if we had a magic lens?
What if we could look at them instead of licking them?
The whole world would change.
It did. It did. Thank you.
You're
semen
welcome.
lickers of the past.
Oh, you're not thanking me. Oh, okay.
Oh, no. So all of this brings us to luminol because luminol is used far and wide in forensics today.
Oh, yeah.
So what is luminol? Silly. It's C8H7N3O2.
Idiot. How did you not know that?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Kiss.
It's a chemical compound that exhibits chemiluminescence when mixed with an appropriate oxidizing agent. So it by itself is a whitish, like kind of off-white yellowish, crystalline solid that is soluble in most organic solvents, but not water, ironically.
Got it. Okay.
So the compound itself, think of it like salt, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's a
and
dust.
then you have to mix it with a certain liquid,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can spray it. And then when it reacts with an oxidizing agent, it glows.
Okay, so it glows bluish on its own, and they have to turn the lights off to see that glow, and that's probably why I always just assumed it was black light.
Yes, the lights are just off. There's no light.
Interesting.
They pretty much have to do this at night.
Weird. Creep.
Mm-hmm.
Creepster.
Creepsters. So when we're applying luminol in a forensic sense, the oxidizing agent would be the iron in our blood or the hemoglobin. So when you spray it in a dark room, it will glow, but the intensity of the glow is based on how much of the solution was used, not the amount of blood.
Oh, okay. So if it's really lighting up, it's because you dumped a lot of luminol in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you hear the talking head on Forensic Files say the scene lit up like a Christmas tree, maybe they should consider conserving their chemical resources a little bit more.
Yeah. Dial it back, officer.
Back. Luminol was first synthesized in Germany in 1902 as part of an effort to develop a tool to find bloodstains, but it didn't get its cute little name until 1934. But before that, a German dude in 1928 named H.O. Albrecht discovered that blood, as well as some other things, but let's just have fun here and think that he exclusively worked with blood. So the blood enhanced the luminescence of luminol when in an alkaline solution of hydrogen peroxide. In 1936, Carl Glue and Carl Pfanstiehl, Mr. Glue and Mr. Pfanstiehl, confirmed that it did glow more in the presence of hematin, which is a component of blood, and also fresh potato juice.
Oh, okay.
It's not just blood, and we'll actually get back to this.
Interesting that potato juice is a thing.
There's there's iron in potatoes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's iron in a lot of vegetables. So like vegetables in particular can
light up like a Christmas tree.
Luminesce. Yeah. And also I really want to imagine a scenario in which a defense lawyer argues like, that wasn't blood. They just had a potato party the night before.
Well, it's kind of interesting that you say that.
Okay. Excellent. I cannot wait.
It was not potatoes, but horseradish.
Yeah, I have a whole list. So according to a DOJ paper from 1990, in 1937, a totally normal, not weird guy named Walter Sprecht, quote, sprayed blood on bushes, stone walls, rusty iron fences, furniture, stone steps, and a garden. After allowing the blood to remain exposed to the elements for 14 days, Sprecht sprayed a luminol reagent mixture onto the blood and photographed the results.
He let it sit for 2 weeks?
He let it sit for 2 weeks.
What if it rained?
It that was part of the experiment.
So that it wouldn't like wash away every trace, and it would be kind of like if someone had tried to clean a crime scene, or if a crime scene was old.
Yeah. I mean, he sprayed it in all sorts of different places repeatedly. Mm-hmm. So there was all kinds of weather.
Okay.
In 1939, the Americans joined in. Patrick Prosher and A.M. Moody.
Nice.
I am Moody.
I am Moody.
Made 3 pretty important observations about luminol. Number 1, although the test is presumptive, meaning that it can indicate the possible presence of blood, but further testing is needed for confirmation. Mm-hmm. Large areas of suspected material can be examined very quickly. It doesn't take very long to do this test. Dried and decomposed blood actually gives a better reaction than fresh blood.
Oh, I wonder if that's like the wetness.
I think so. I think it probably has to do with the concentration of that hemoglobin. Mm-hmm. And if the luminescence disappears, you can just reapply the luminol peroxide solution. Mm-hmm. You can just spray it back on.
Yeah.
Dried blood can be made to glow repeatedly. With each application, you only get about 30 seconds worth of glow.
So that's why they're spraying, snapping pics, no flash.
No flash.
And then continuing to spray. And maybe that's why a lot of these crime scenes light up like a Christmas tree, because if they're doing multiple layers, repeat layers of luminol over and over and over again, then I would imagine that re-wetting some of the more dry chemical compound would then activate it. Mm-hmm, you know what I mean? So maybe they're not just like dumping buckets of luminol because it only lasts, 30 seconds or so, but spraying over and over and over again to get these photo results.
You can only do it a few times. It's not going to work forever. Mm-hmm. And okay, so I mentioned the potato juice, as did you. And there are some other things that can also react with luminol, and this can be a problem. So like I said, anything with iron and copper containing compounds will react. This includes, like you said, horseradish, bleaches, not all bleach, because as we know, a lot of people try to clean up crime scenes with bleach and they can still find the blood with luminol. Mm-hmm. So certain bleaches, cigarette smoke residue, and poop.
Yeah. Is it blood or shit? That's a game a lot of parents play every day.
Well, both are brown, can be brown. The application of the luminol may also prevent other tests from being done on the evidence, which at this point does not include DNA necessarily. DNA has been successfully extracted from samples that have had luminol treatment.
Okay.
And a great treat to us, the American consumer in the year of our Lord 2025, luminol is quite affordable. And you can purchase it online. Kits will run you between $12 and $40.
We both have had luminol kits. I think we did a Forensic Files event and they gave us like a gift box that was like a little Forensic Files cooler. And it had like sunglasses,
what the fuck?
A luminol
Where'd you get this? I didn't get this.
Yeah, we all got them. This was years ago.
From Wine and Crime?
Yeah.
I did not get a luminol kit.
Well,
I did not get Forensic Files sunglasses.
I did. It's in here somewhere. Oh, right here.
What the fuck?
I don't think I still have the luminol kit, but I have this cooler.
Oh my God. I didn't get that at all.
It's got a little handprint on it. It's got a beer bottle opener on it.
No. I'm calling that girl from HLN. That's ridiculous.
I got this Forensic Files banner thing.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I got
was sent to you in the mail?
Forensic Files evidence bag. I think so.
Well, now we know who the favorite
you
is.
You could have them.
Oh my God.
I have 2 evidence bags, so I can give you one.
Well, mine obviously went with yours.
Freeze-dried gourmet popcorn or something.
Why is that in your basement?
It's in my office. There's candy. Oh, there's multiple sets of sunglasses. Let's see. UV wand.
I feel like you're opening this for the first time.
I think maybe the second time. There it is. Luminol.
Okay, bring that to Lake Pepin.
Yep.
Bring all of it to Lake Pepin.
We will come all over the house and then see if this works. Also,
we'll spray Scott's room at the end of the trip.
cooling cups, cooling wine glasses.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll bring this whole thing. We're gonna blacklight the shit out of that B&B.
Damn it. We don't need a black light.
Well, I know, but you might need a black light for
Chemiluminescent.
other things. Finding other stains. Anyway, yeah, I'll bring this. We need a cooler there anyway for our lake days.
We sure do.
So why not bring this one? Maybe they just sent it to me and I was
burning with
supposed
jealousy
to distribute things and then I just never did.
I'm going to assume that's what happened.
That's entirely possible.
Otherwise, I'm texting Susan right now. All right. Okay.
Leave her right there so you can gaze at her.
Stop.
Hey, if I have to stare at the, like, not one but two terrifying baby dolls behind you every episode, then you can get a little...
You can't even see that one. She's hiding.
You move to laugh all the time, and then it's just like a jump scare of Tressa's face over your fucking shoulder. Right now she's fallen down, but she's not always lying down. She has definitely been upright. You can look at our videos. They're on YouTube.
I don't watch them.
So anyway,
I lived them. That's enough.
You can stare at the coveted Forensic Files cooler.
Fine. Okay. I have a little bit more background for us and then a deeply disturbing case.
Great.
So Luminol has a bit of a less famous cousin, which I also got the idea to include this from a middle of the night Forensic Files listening party.
Tylenol.
Ninhydrin.
Oh.
Tylenol, Luminol.
Tylenol. They sound like cousins.
I thought Luminol sounded like a bad marketing name, but it's not. It's just what it's called. It's not a proprietary thing.
Mm-mm.
That's just what it's the name of the chemical name of it. But Ninhydrin kind of sounds a little mystical, but
what is it?
Well, first synthesized, Jesus Christ. First synthesized in 1910 by Siegfried Ruemann. He also saw that the substance reacted, but this time with his own skin. Later determined to be specifically with the amino acids on his skin. So when the ninhydrin touches his skin, it turns a deep bluish purple that they later named Ruemann's purple.
Weird.
So he got his own color.
Good for him. This discovery was made 7 years before Helen was born.
Jesus Christ. Oh, as we record this, it's the anniversary of the Titanic sinking, only 5 years before Helen was born.
And it's Helen's birthday.
Oh, shit.
Because holy shit.
Weird. You talk shit about her on her birthday.
I mean, I wasn't talking shit. I was just stating how iconic her age was. Happy birthday, Grandma.
Happy birthday. Okay, so... And he figured out that it turned purple because of the amino acids on his skin. So how do you think this can be applied?
I don't know.
So in the 1950s, a couple of Swedes named Odin and von Husten suggested that ninhydrin could be used in developing latent fingerprints.
Oh, hell yeah.
Quote, as the terminal amines of lysine residues in peptides and proteins sloughed off in fingerprints react with the ninhydrin.
Huh. Easy, simple as that. Easy as pie.
Easy as pie. So therefore, obviously, the substance could be used to get fingerprints from porous surfaces such as paper or wood or fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important because it's way harder to get fingerprints off of porous surfaces.
You're not going to dust that shit and use some Scotch tape to just peel it off.
No.
Mm-hmm. So there are some downsides. Ninhydrin has issues with long-term stability unless it's kept really, really cold.
Okay.
And it can also, sort of kill you. In, long-term exposure. It can cause allergic reactions such as rhinitis, which is the inflammation of the nasal lining, and asthma. Ooh. So a lot of respiratory
issues from inhaling
mucousy tube inflaming.
You're going to want to use the good PPE for handling that.
Yes. And this is mostly if it's repeated exposure, if you're using it regularly in a lab or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've got for us on luminol. I didn't really tell you how to make it.
That's okay. You can Google it. Or you can just buy a kit. It's not like a complex... It's not like Breaking Bad. I mean...
I don't think you're cooking anything.
No.
I think you're just mixing stuff up.
Yep. And yeah, you could. It's very accessible. You can just buy it online.
Just buy it.
Just buy it. But if you don't have store-bought, homemade is fine.
Homemade works. So now we come to my very disturbing case. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In 1991, Dennis and Ione Huber were living in Newport Beach, California with their 23-year-old daughter, Denise. Mm-hmm. Denise had recently graduated with a degree in social sciences from the University of California, Irvine, and continued to live at home with her parents while working as a server at the local Old Spaghetti Factory.
Hell yeah.
I also read that she was also part-time sales associate at Bloomingdale's.
I miss Bloomingdale's.
Me too. A Bloomingdale's in Newport Beach in the early 90s.
Are you fucking kidding me? It's heaven. That's heaven.
I know.
A Bloomingdale's in Newport Beach in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well.
Some yearn for the mines. I yearn for a Bloomingdale's in Newport Beach in the early 90s.
Well, her luck didn't last for very long.
I kind of fucking figured.
Denise had a bunch of friends, and on the evening of June 2nd, she was supposed to go with like her pseudo boyfriend, but he couldn't go at the last minute. So she went with her work friend, Rob, to Inglewood for a Morrissey concert.
Okay.
When her parents woke up on June 3rd, Denise's bed was empty, but they weren't too alarmed because she's 23 years old, you know. She had a lot of friends. She probably slept over at one of their houses.
Sure.
But then when they got back home that evening, the bed was still empty, so they really began to worry. They did not know where she was.
Okay.
So they began calling around to Denise's friends, including Rob, the guy she went to the concert with, and who claimed that afterwards they stopped for a couple drinks at a bar, like a Mexican restaurant bar, and then she had dropped him off at home at about 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. None of her other friends or no one else had any answers as to where Denise had gone.
Okay.
Finally, Denise's friend Debbie decided to retrace her steps. She drove to the venue, drove to the bar, drove to Rob's, and then back to the Huber house in order to try to figure out, see if she was anywhere, if there was any sign of her.
Yeah.
That's when Denise's car was found on the side of the Costa Mesa highway with a flat tire just 3 miles from her home.
Okay.
There was a pair of pantyhose on the front driver's seat, and her keys, purse, and Denise were nowhere to be found.
Oh, God.
They also didn't find, her shoes. They just noted that it looked like she had gotten out of her car. Oh, and the hazards were on.
Weird. Okay.
The flashers were on.
That she had gotten out of her car and, taken her stuff.
Yes. Or her stuff was taken.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops brought out helicopters. They're looking for her. They have canine units, which tracked her scent about 75 yards away before disappearing. So that none of this was helping. None of the leads were panning out. It was also getting a lot of media attention because this is very much missing white woman syndrome. Because Denise, God bless her, she is stunningly beautiful. There's pictures of her on the drive. But I'm
it's
sure...
like a Gabby Petito situation. This grabbed everybody's attention.
Yeah. And it's in wherever I said it was. The beach.
Newport Beach.
Newport Beach. So it's just very wealthy.
Very wealthy, very white.
Wealthy white neighborhood. So Rob's story remained consistent, and he also passed a polygraph test. So they kind of let him go as a suspect. Investigators also questioned Steve, who was her friend, but kind of the romantic partner who was supposed to go with her to the Morrissey show.
Okay.
But he couldn't go at the last minute.
Okay.
His alibi also proved to be rock solid. So the cops were like, well, it was neither of these two guys who would have had, a motive and a statistical likelihood of doing something, but they didn't think that either of them did it. So they started to think that she had been abducted, but they had nothing to go on. So eventually her case went cold. Her parents were devastated, and her dad, Dennis, said, quote, "We were basically incapacitated. I could not do anything. I was so grief-stricken and worried that at that point I thought I could not go any lower." Unfortunately, it would be 3 more years before her parents got any answers. In July of 1994, 2 angels, which to some may have been like nosy narcs, but in this situation, they were angels.
It worked out, yeah.
It worked out. 2 angels come into the picture. Retirees Jack and Elaine Court moved to Prescott Valley, Arizona, which is 350 miles away from Newport Beach.
Yep.
In the 1990s
Several
to settle
days
down.
if you're walking.
Several days.
Weeks, probably, if you're me.
Well, I could have Googled it and I didn't.
That's fine.
So they moved to Arizona in the 90s to settle down and began selling paint sundries at the local swap meet.
Oh my God, cute.
In July of 1994, they met a newcomer to the flea market scene, a 33-year-old man named John, who said that he was also in the paint-related item business, paint sundries business. So thinking that this John fella may have inventory that they could sell as part of their business, Jack and Elaine accepted John's invitation to pick up some product from his house. So when they got there, they noticed something rather suspicious. A Ryder moving truck with California plates parked in his backyard, and it looked like it had been abandoned because it had a bunch of like weeds and shit growing up around the tires. So they were like, that's weird because it's a rental truck and it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
It's odd. But and John had also told them that he had just moved to the area around 6 months ago.
Which isn't long enough for all those weeds to be growing. Well, maybe it is, but...
Well, either way, it felt very suspicious.
Yeah, you return a rental truck.
And I also want to note that his mother lives right next door to him.
Red flag.
Red flag, but also could be why the truck may or may not have been there for longer than he had actually lived there.
Got it. Okay.
There are not very many sources about this case that I could find that aren't like straight up court documents. And the few articles that I did find that were more cohesive, a lot of them had very different information.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on. And I can't confirm 100% how much is like super duper accurate.
Fair enough.
Nothing else about the visit was alarming, but Jack and Elaine decided to write down the license plate info from the truck just in case it had been stolen. And they just wanted to know if they were dealing with a fishy character here.
Good for them.
They wanted to know who they're buying their paint sundries from.
Yeah. Keep it on the up and up.
So not too long after, they passed along the info to a deputy who had stopped by their flea market booth for some painting supplies. I think that they didn't even...
small town shit
I know.
I've ever fucking heard.
I know. But like the way this all went down, I mean, we'll get to it, but I think that if they hadn't done what they did...
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like a string of coincidences will just lead to an answer. And it does happen.
Yeah. A cold case. So I think that they had this guy come up and were making small talk, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a deputy police officer," and they're like, "Will you run this plate for us?"
And he was like, "Sure, strangers."
So he did.
Jesus.
He ran the info, and the truck did in fact come back as having been reported stolen 6 months ago from California.
Yup.
The deputy then went to John's house. No one was home, but he was poking around, as they do.
Sees the truck.
Well, he definitely saw the truck.
Yeah.
He also saw a number of things that alarmed him. There were chemicals sitting outside the truck, and the truck had an extension cord leading from the back of it into, I believe, either an outlet on the side of his house or like into his garage. It was plugged in.
Oh.
Something in the truck was plugged in.
No.
And like running.
No, I know what it is.
What is it?
It's gotta be a freezer.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah!
So he thought that whoever stole the truck may have been using it as a drug lab.
Sure.
Because it could have been lights, it could have been a grow lamp, it
The
could have been
truck's
a
not
lot
open,
of things.
So yeah, that extension cord could be connected to anything. That's a totally normal thing to assume.
So his first move was to call the narcotics team because he assumed that it had something to do with drugs.
Okay. And there's those chemicals outside of the truck, like
the chemicals.
Yeah.
The narcotics team got a warrant, and within an hour, they're back at the house. So they're looking at the truck, and in the back of the truck was indeed a deep freezer with a padlock on it.
No.
Again, assuming there were drugs inside, they opened it to find a bunch of plastic bags covering a large plastic bag with a very bad odor emanating from it.
God damn it.
Sheriff Scott Masher said, quote, "When we cut the plastic bag open and peeled it back, I could see an arm. And as we began to open the bag more, it appeared to be a young adult female."
No.
Oh, it's so rough. I'm warning you. The victim was found frozen, like in fetal position, basically on her knees with her head bent down and her arms handcuffed behind her back.
Oh my God.
Cloth had been stuffed in her mouth, which was duct taped closed. And she had a plastic bag over her head.
Ugh.
I think that's where they left it before they sent it to the medical examiner. But it was a gruesome scene, which was in the middle of being processed when, look who comes home. It's John, who is actually John Joseph Familaro.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah. He is behaving cool as a cucumber. He is not freaking out at all. The cops are like, "Don't you think this is odd?"
Yeah.
And so he's just like being really fucking casual about it. It's very weird. So they brought him into the station for questioning, where he was, again, strangely cooperative until they began asking him about the freezer, at which point he responded, "I have nothing else to say," and requested an attorney.
Oh.
Nevertheless, he was arrested for murder and also for the theft of the truck.
Yeah.
So he's in custody at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the body went to the medical examiners for identification. In the meantime, investigators searched Familaro's home. What they found was far outside the ordinary. There were various weapons strewn about, and in the basement, they found a blood-stained hammer and dried tissue.
Oh. And this was 3 years later?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They also, at some point, I don't know where they found it, they found a staple gun.
No.
Police also found women's clothing, purses, and Social Security cards, which, when examined together, pointed to a disturbing conclusion that there were more than one victim.
Oh my God, he's a serial killer. Denise got picked up by a fucking serial killer.
Then came the most horrifying discovery in Familaro's house. At the back of the basement, he had dug out a hidden underground room.
No.
Fearing that more bodies may have been buried in the secret room, authorities brought in cadaver dogs, but they did not find any other victims in that room, which I took to be like he was in the process of digging out a room.
Right. With intention to fill it.
Yet.
Yeah.
Especially if you'd only been in the house for 6 months.
Yeah. And you can't have your fridge stay in the truck the whole time. And, you know.
Mm-hmm. As police started reaching out to other agencies to try and piece together a picture of who this guy was and how many victims he may have, because, again, they're currently in Arizona.
Yeah.
The victim is not identified yet.
Right. And she was in California.
Uh-huh. So tips start coming in. One woman said she had met Familaro in Phoenix, Arizona, and that he abducted her and taken her out to the middle of the desert where he tried to strangle her.
Oh, God, but she got away.
He fought him off and was forced to run naked through the desert to safety. She never reported the crime, but she was able to immediately identify Familaro in a photo lineup.
Yeah.
Other victims reported that Familaro had handcuffed them to beds without their consent.
No.
They got a hold of one of his ex-girlfriends, and she gave a report to the effect of he liked to use handcuffs in the bedroom, and he would often make me get naked and handcuff me and leave me exposed like next to an open window for like long periods of time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
So this is very serial killery.
Yeah.
So finally they connected with the cops in Newport Beach who told them about Denise Huber, and the connection was made. Denise was the young woman in the freezer.
Oh my God.
Another quote from her dad, quote, "I have never felt worse in my life. It's indescribable. It's the worst thing that can happen to you."
Oh.
Okay. I'm not sure when this happened in the timeline, but like I said, his mother's house was right next door.
Mm-hmm.
So they also searched his mother's house, who claimed to have no idea what's going on. John doesn't even have girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Either in her basement or in her garage, they found a box labeled Christmas.
Okay.
Another tied to the Christmas tree thing.
Ugh.
In the box, they found Denise's bloody clothing. Also, John's clothing that was bloody with Denise's blood.
Mm-hmm.
They also found her shoes, which were scuffed to the degree that it's kind of consistent with being dragged fighting on a highway road.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
They also, in John's basement, they found a police uniform.
No.
Mhm.
Oh, yuck.
And he had handcuffs.
Yeah. So he's impersonating an officer to gain trust.
We don't know that for sure, but it is
Seems logical.
pretty likely. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so the worst part is, here comes the worst part, trigger warning, it's violent and graphic. An autopsy revealed that Denise had been sexually assaulted and that she had died from blunt force trauma to the skull after being struck more than 30 times in the head by what was likely a hammer, possibly the one that was found in the house.
Oh my God.
Her skull was
Destroyed.
I have goosebumps. They interview the medical examiners in the Forensic Files episode that's based on this.
Yeah.
And she said when they took off the plastic bag, it was just pieces. And she had to get another, like, someone who was in like forensic anthropology to reassemble the skull.
So they could even determine how many hits she'd taken.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the first step was to piece it back together.
Oh my God.
And she was describing having to start at the top and work her way down because your head and face bones get smaller the more down and forward you go.
Oh.
And they found indentations that had plastic from the bag between, like, in there. So they knew that for at least some of the blows, the plastic bag was already over her head.
Oh my God.
And some of the dents were consistent with that nail gun.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, it's sick.
It's so sick. So at the time of Denise's disappearance, Falamaro, turns out, had been running a paint business in a warehouse that was in Orange County, not far from where Denise's car had been found abandoned. It was just like a few miles away.
Mm-hmm.
When police went to search the warehouse, they found a room in the back because Guy loved his secret fucking rooms. They sprayed the walls with luminol, which revealed that they had been covered in blood because none of this was visible. It had been washed away, but they sprayed it with luminol and they could see there was a lot of blood.
Yep.
Further testing showed the blood to be from both Denise and Famalaro.
Interesting.
Somehow. I don't know how his blood got there, but
Hopefully she took some chunks out of him in the struggle.
I hope so. Police believe that he had been out hunting for victims when he came across Denise trying to fix a flat tire because they did examine the tire and it was like legitimately flat.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't slashed or anything.
Yeah, not like sabotage. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And he happened to drive by and see this girl changing her tire at 2 a.m.
You offer your assistance.
He then struck her with a hammer, dragged her back to his car, handcuffed her, and took her back to his warehouse where he raped and killed her.
Oh my God.
It's likely he held on to her body with the intention of burying it along with the evidence that he kept at his mother's house in the pit that he was digging in the bottom of the house in Arizona.
Ugh.
In 1994, Famularo stood trial for Denise's murder after pleading not guilty. Okay.
Yeah, good luck.
He was convicted of murder and kidnapping and sentenced to death in 1997. He is currently awaiting his execution in San Quentin in California.
Holy shit.
So the Forensic Files episode is called Frozen in Time. I know.
Sorry,
and
Ray
there's also
is trying to kiss Lucy's face while she tells this horrific story.
He's so gentle.
I know, it was really cute, but this is not a good time for this, Ray.
I know. So the Forensic Files episode is called Frozen in Time, and there's also a book called Cold Storage by Dan Lasseter.
Oh.
Here's where I think I might need to read the book because I was disappointed at how little information they have about the other IDs from these other women that they found.
Yeah, because it's giving big serial killer energy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I found a Reddit thread with a bunch of conspiracy theories about this guy too, but
I feel
nothing
like there's
is concrete.
no way that this was his only murder victim. There's no way.
I don't think so. 30 times in the head with
I don't believe it.
And the handcuffs.
No.
And all the escalation, the woman he tried to kill in the desert who got away.
Yeah, and the fact that he had killed this woman 3 years ago. Maybe it took him so long. Maybe he wanted to like bury her in some special way as like his first victim. And that's why she was discovered. But like, I find it very hard to believe that nobody else was killed by him.
I
almost impossible
to believe that.
Yeah, fuck that. Is he dead or is he still alive?
He's still alive.
Oh.
He's not dead yet. I have some pictures on the drive, which include, there's kind of a cool before and after. This isn't from the case. This is from a different case, but there's a before and after luminol spraying pictures. Mm-hmm. So that kind of shows that was from a dismemberment thing in Ireland.
I saw that. I almost covered that actually, but then I couldn't find enough information about it, so I moved on to something else.
There wasn't enough information. But yeah, that's the door. And then this creep ass guy in his creep ass glasses with his disgusting eyebrows.
Yeah, he's really gross. And
that freezer, it's like an industrial sized freezer.
I hate him. I hate him so much.
I love this photo of Denise wearing a hat. She's in New Orleans, which is what the NO stands for, but her hat just says no really big.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And I'm a big fan.
Ugh.
Anyway, R.I.P. Denise.
God,
that is
brutal.
So brutal.
Well, great. Should we take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors and then go down another rabbit hole, luminol hole?
Luminol. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I feel like I have won the Auntie of the Year award because my niece is like leaving the tweens and soon to become a teen. And she'd been sleeping on like...
a woman soon.
She'll be a woman soon. And she'd been sleeping on like the same hand-me-down mattress for a very, very long time. And and my sister and brother-in-law already have a Helix. We have a Helix. I was like, it's time to Helix her. And I know that if someone had Helixed me when I was at that delicate age, then all of my history of night sweats, back pain, and the entire bed moving when you roll over.
Oh, yeah.
Would have been things of the past. You know, I'm there now, but imagine if I had had this even as like a tween.
You'd get so much better sleep. You wouldn't have to take a nap the moment you get home from school every day.
Truly. So I'm so excited that I had the opportunity to send her a Helix mattress. And I think that she is going to be a lifelong lover of it, just like so many other people in my family and myself are. I
have tried multiple like in the box mattresses that come in a box to your house.
Yep.
This is far and away my favorite.
For sure.
My sleep is better. I'm getting better quality sleep. And my husband snores.
Yeah.
People, he's a snorer.
Mm-hmm.
And even with this new mattress, and we also got some pillows with it.
Yes.
I don't know what the combination, if it's just the topping, if it's just how the material is in the mattress, but his body, I don't know, gets to sleep and relax in a way that he is not snoring nearly as often or as loudly as he used to.
The temperature control alone has made it such a game changer for me because I'm a hot sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, I don't know what kind of magic that they are infusing into these mattresses, but it like is truly temperature regulating and it's amazing.
I feel like Sleeping Beauty.
So if you want to join us and get that Sleeping beauty sleep that you deserve, then go to helixsleep.com/gals for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/gals for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/gals. Sometimes in life, you want to get to the truth. And if you want to get to the truth, you got to look at the numbers, baby. And this is not a fun one, as, I was a dog owner for like basically my whole life. Now I'm a cat owner, but this still rings true. It's very sad to say that about 50% of all dogs over the age of 10 will die of cancer. And the other 40 to 50% of dogs can be suffering miserably from skin issues, joint problems. Callie had a lot of skin issues and joint problems when she hit that like elder dog time of her life. And it was really hard to watch. And I didn't know about rough greens at the time. So I was like piecemeal trying to put together ways to improve her life. But like so much of these numbers are attributed to your dog's diet. And these numbers are what inspired naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black to create Rough Greens.
Rough Greens has changed the game. With thousands of testimonials and 5-star reviews every month, Rough Greens is now the #1 all-natural dog supplement in America. They have helped millions of puppies have longer, healthier lives and help them stay active. And you know what? Your pup could be next. Mm-hmm. I think the best part is the most attractive thing about Rough Greens is that you don't have to change your dog's food in order to improve your dog's health. You just add a little scoop of Rough Greens. And they also have Meow Greens for kitty cats. And I can attest that does help them have a shinier coat. They're moving around a little bit better.
The joint health, it's huge.
Yes.
And it can be such a pain in the butt to transition your pet into different food and not having to do that. Just having this be like a little extra oomph to their food that's going to bring them
on top.
Yeah, it's going to bring them all of this great healthy joy. Is so great. So fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com and just use promo code GALS. That's ruffgreens.com, promo code GALS. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. Y'all, telehealth is such a game changer. We've been using it for years. It can be really hard to find a great fit. And it's just, telehealth has made mental health care so much more convenient and honestly, most importantly, accessible for millions of people. So like, we're always going to be about that. But critical challenges like finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and the expensive out-of-pocket costs is still keeping a lot of people from having access to the care that they need. And that is why we are so excited to be partnering with Rula. Rula is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional easy and affordable for everyone. Rula's got you covered. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session, and you can now get the quality care you need when you need it at a price that you can afford.
And Rula isn't just affordable. They stick with you throughout your mental health care journey, making sure you get the best therapy, and they also check in and make sure that you're making progress. Because if you're not, they can change something up for you, make it work for you.
Yep.
With Rula, every provider is carefully vetted and chosen for their expertise. You will always know you're in the hands of quality providers who are dedicated to making real progress in your care. So the first step on your journey to mental well-being is easy. Rula starts by asking you just a few questions about what's important to you, maybe what issues you're having in your life, what obstacles, what's going well, what's not. And then they provide a list of licensed in-network providers who match your preferences. Mm-hmm. You can schedule your preferred time and meet with your therapist as soon as the next day. It can be so hard to find a therapist that's compatible with you, that also does what you need them to do.
Right. And to be able to do that with such a quick timeline and really be confident that they're going to take care of you every step of the way from finding that provider to the ongoing care is huge.
It's an extra layer of care that you don't have to completely handle all of this on your own because it can be very daunting.
Mm-hmm.
So go to rula.com/gals to get started today. That's RULA.com/gals for convenient therapy that's covered by insurance. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/gals to get started today. After you sign up, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Go to rula.com/gals and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares.
Okay, so as Lucy has made abundantly clear with her segment, you just can't talk luminol without talking forensic files.
No, you can't.
You sure can't. So today I am revisiting the episode Where the Blood Drops. And this is the story of car dealer Bill Mowbray's sudden death and the subsequent trial of his wife, Susie.
I think maybe Mowbray.
Maybe Mowbray. It's got a W.
Yeah.
Either way.
You don't mow the lawn.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
I'll stop being this annoying.
Nope.
Starting now.
Nope. That's Mowbray it is. She's a little bit of a roller coaster of twists and turns, and seemingly clear evidence unravels, and the truth is still like out there. I'm curious to know where you're gonna fall at the end of this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try not to put my personal thoughts as much into it because I want to know what you think at the end. So I'm gonna try to remain objective and stick to the facts.
Okay.
We're gonna be focusing on that, the shifts in the evidence, the shifts in the narrative, and of course the critical role of luminol evidence. So Susie Mowbray, whose maiden name was Frida Sue Burnett, she went by Susie, but her first name is actually Frida.
Frida Sue.
Frida Sue Burnett.
I like that.
Was born in Louisiana around 1948 and grew up in Shreveport. She was a classic Southern Belle debutante who was a cheerleader. She was homecoming queen. And before meeting Bill Mowbray, Susie had been married and divorced and had 2 children named Cricket and Wade Burnett.
Cricket and Wade.
These are my adult sons, Cricket and Wade.
I know a girl Cricket.
Frankly, I love the name Cricket. I know it's probably like ruined by It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I don't care. I love it. I love it.
That's a boy cricket,
That is definitely a boy cricket. So it's the details of how they met are not clear and also don't really matter. They met in like the early 80s. They got married. The rest is history.
Okay.
So she married Bill Mowbray and became kind of a local celebrity alongside him. We'll get to why he's a celebrity. Because she was starring in local TV commercials for his car dealership. And
of course she was.
Yes, she was. And it earned her the local reputation as a queen and a pitch woman in the 1980s.
Oh, queen pitch woman.
Queen pitch woman Frida Sue Mowbray.
Okay.
You can call me Susie. So J. William Bill Mowbray Jr. was born on April 2nd, 1944 in Washington, D.C. He came from a family with a history in the automobile business, as both his grandfather and father worked in the industry. So he's a car nepo baby.
Okay.
By the age of 25 in 1969, Bill Mowbray had achieved significant success, becoming the youngest Cadillac dealer in the world, according to the Texas Brownsville Herald, where he ended up moving. He continued to expand his business, and in 1974, he debuted a new 5-acre Cadillac dealership in Brownsville, Texas.
Damn.
And this gathered him considerable local publicity. It opened with great fanfare. I think of this guy as like the Chris Lindahl of cars. And if you live in Minneapolis, you know exactly who the fuck Chris Lindahl is. And his fucking billboard arm spreading campaign.
God, what is with that? There's one every 6 miles, I swear to God. Like up 35.
It's a bit much. We're all sick of it.
It's only this too much.
Yeah. We're all sick of it. But I imagine that's the kind of like local fame that he was getting from all the ads in this huge car dealership opening. And he's, was the youngest Cadillac dealer in the world. And now he's settled in Brownsville, Texas to open his biggest dealership yet.
I've told you that the main car dealer in Cedar Falls, Iowa is Dick Witham.
I won't dick with you, but I'm Dick Witham. And you can trust me to sell you a quality vehicle.
For a great price that I haven't dicked with.
Incredible. So the Brownsville Herald even dedicated a full page to the grand opening of Bill Mowbray Motors, highlighting its, quote, very fine selection of pre-owned autos and the assurance of a perfect auto finish provided by its dust-proof booths and drying chambers.
Wow.
At this time, his dealership had 45 employees. And this was a big deal. It was like on the news. Former news anchor Carrie Zayas recalled that during this period, anyone in the area who drove a Cadillac likely purchased it from Bill Mowbray Motors. And Bill's trusted assistant, Luke Fruya eventually took over the business so that he could just, own it and take the money.
Get that mailbox money.
But not have to run it. Like Susie, Bill was also divorced. He'd had a daughter in a previous marriage. Her name is Kristen Mowbray. And so when Susie and Bill met, they married and they kind of blended their families. They lived a seemingly very happy life. They're basking in the glow of Cadillac success. In September of 1987, great month for the world because I was born. Not so great month for the Mowbrays, though.
Well, not so great for the economy either. I'm pretty sure we had a recession.
Shh. 1987, September 1987. The peaceful town of Brownsville, Texas was rocked by a 911 call from Susie Mowbray. She reported that her husband, Bill, the respected Cadillac dealer, had shot himself in their bed.
In their bed? Don't do it in the bed.
I know. Upon arrival, paramedics found a gruesome scene. Bill Mowbray in bed with a gunshot wound to the head, a powerful handgun lying in blood beside him. Former Assistant District Attorney Bill Hagan noted the significant blood spatter on the ceiling fan, the pooling on the bed. And despite the severity of his injuries, when they arrived, Bill was still alive. He was still breathing.
Ooh.
He did later die at the hospital. His injuries were just way too severe.
Shot in the head, right?
Yep.
Mm.
Initially, investigators considered suicide, especially given that that close associates of Bill were aware of at least one previous attempt at suicide by Bill. This same journalist who had reported about the Cadillac dealership also said that Susie portrayed Bill as having unresolved emotional issues and was facing significant financial problems. According to business manager Sergio Hernandez, the Cadillac dealership was operating at a loss, and Bill himself was heavily in debt. Carrie Zayas also noted that Bill had taken out 2 loans on the same inventory, and Susie's lawyer, Jim Shaw, recounted on Forensic Files how Bill had even cried and threatened suicide at a bank if he didn't get a loan.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah, so he was not in a good way.
No.
However, the narrative took a sharp turn. Just one day after witnessing her husband's death, Susie held a painting party in the very bedroom where it occurred.
What? Wait, what? The next day?
Yep. Bill's daughter and I believe one of Susie's sons, so her stepbrother, discovered the gathering with music playing, while Susie's friend Sarah Bush explained that Susie merely wanted to remove the bloodstains before her children returned home. This action raised immediate suspicion.
Oh my God, wall painting. I was picturing like
a sip and paint?
Yeah.
No, painting the walls over the blood.
Okay, but I don't know which is more disturbing.
Correct.
Who, like her friends?
Yeah, she asked her friends to come over and help her paint. And then the kids
hire
came
it
home.
out, baby. Hire it out.
Came home and heard like music coming from the bedroom and were like, what the fuck? And went in there and it's like, you know, her and some friends painting the walls.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know how I would deal with that kind of grief.
Me either. We're pointing it out because it changed people's perspective, especially the investigation's perspective on whether they should be looking at her. Susie had called, this is also a thing that happened that is, I think more egregious than the painting. The night of the shooting, Susie had called Bill's assistant, Luke Faria, who had eventually taken over the business, before she called 911. And Luke was like, why are you calling me? Hang up and call 911. And so she did.
Oh my God.
And it's like, why the delay? Why call him first? It's a little
That's
weird.
But again, if you had just witnessed your husband shoot himself
in your bed, of course. You mean she might have been completely out of her mind. I can't even begin to imagine. And I can understand why people would be like, that's sketchy. Combined with the painting, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. Let's just put it that way.
Either you're a lunatic or you're deeply traumatized, or both.
Yeah.
Why not both?
Then came a financial angle. Susie was the beneficiary of Bill's life insurance policy worth over $1 million. I saw a report that said $1.8 million. But I'm not exactly sure of the amount. Investigators learned that Susie had recently inquired about the policy details. Crucially, Bill was reportedly planning to remove Susie as the beneficiary and make his daughter, Carrie, I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Cricket?
Not Cricket.
No,
that's her son.
Okay.
Kristen. Similar to Cricket, but not the same. He was going to remove Susie as his beneficiary. And I think now that Kristen was like old enough, make her the beneficiary of his life insurance policy. That's his only child. That makes perfect sense. It does not mean that something bad was happening in the marriage.
Okay.
Like it's genuine, that genuinely makes sense to me. But it also could give Susie motive. It's like, oh shit, I'm about to not be the beneficiary of this life insurance policy. Yeah. But the other thing though, what we don't know about the policy is whether or not it had some sort of like suicide clause, which can exist. Like you can't always collect life insurance policies from a death by suicide.
I think there's usually a time period. It can't be within like 2 years or something like that.
So but yeah, I know there are different rules depending on what policy you have. I don't know those details, so I'm not sure. But if that was a factor, that would have me questioning, well, wait, then why would she try to fake a suicide if that could guarantee her the payout and money was her motive? I don't know.
Maybe she didn't know that was even a thing.
Maybe, who knows? So his insurance agent did corroborate that Bill was in the process of changing the policy from Susie to Kristen, although there were also reports of the Small Business Administration and the dealership being named as like beneficiaries, like this would all go into this fund instead. But it sounds like, as far as Susie knew, he was, thinking of taking her off as beneficiary, and Kristen was like the first in line.
Okay.
Bill's death occurred conveniently before this change could be finalized. So regardless of where it was going to end up going, he died by suicide, allegedly, before that could be signed off. So Susie was still the beneficiary. The autopsy performed by Dr. Lawrence Dahm further complicated the initial suicide theory. Dr. Dahm concluded that Bill's death was not a suicide, noting the lack of blood or brain matter on his right hand, which he believed would have been present if Bill had shot himself. And from the way he was laying in the bed, we'll get to it, but he had a gunshot wound through his head, through the pillow, and through his left arm. So his arm, he was laying on his side. He slept on his side.
Like this.
With his arm under his face, but like with the pillow between his face and his hand.
Yep. Okay.
And would have had to use the right arm to grab the gun and point it at himself.
I think I've seen this episode of Forensic Files.
Probably.
Obviously.
Probably. Okay, so this led investigators to consider Susie as the prime suspect, with the motive being the life insurance money. This is where the luminol evidence enters the picture. 7 weeks after Bill's death, Texas blood spatter expert Sergeant Dusty Heskew analyzed Susie's nightgown that she had been wearing when 911 got to her house using luminol. Luminol analysis revealed minuscule specks believed to be blood. But there was conflicting testimony between Heskew and another expert, Captain Tom Bevel of the Oklahoma City Police Department, who was brought in as like a special expert witness. So this is a quote from Justia Law. Quote, generally, blood spatter experts inspect the physical evidence to determine the injuries suffered and their location with respect to the other physical evidence. In the instant case, both experts examined applicant Susie's nightgown for, quote, high velocity impact blood staining, which they believed would be most likely present if she had been the shooter because it sprays back.
Where did she say she was when this happened? Laying next to him in bed?
I don't think she said she was laying next to him. That detail, I am not sure. But I think she was in the house. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember.
In her nightgown.
In her nightgown. It was, at night. So I can't remember. I'm not sure if I read whether she was in the room with him or heard the shot. It was a single shot and came into the room. I don't know.
Probably be the latter if it's weird that she has really small stippling on her nightgown.
Oh, yeah. And that is an important detail, that like the status of the nightgown is an important detail and would definitely determine, I think, whether or not she was in the room at all.
Yeah.
And so that is very questionable, but I don't know exactly what her testimony was in regards to that. So the high velocity impact blood staining, which commonly occurs within a short distance from a contact gunshot wound, which is what Bill had, a contact gunshot wound. Heskew testified that he identified and measured through luminol testing high velocity impact blood stains on Susie's nightgown, which were invisible to the naked eye. So there wasn't enough to be seen at first glance, but under that luminol, he's like, they were lighting up. So Heskew's expert testimony, he concluded the cause of death in this incident, was probably homicide. But Bevel, the Oklahoma expert, who I believe was testifying for the defense, said that his examination of the physical evidence led him to conclude the deceased could have died in the manner in which applicant Susie had testified, meaning suicide. He couldn't rule out that was an option from the blood spatter evidence that, in his professional opinion, while the prosecution's witness was like, there's no way this would have to have been a homicide. So they were conflicting on the stand. And as Lucy covered, luminol tests are presumptive, meaning they can react to substances other than blood, things that have a high iron content, which left doubt.
It was poop.
Well, we actually don't know what it was, but that's kind of the mystery of it. Which left doubt in the eyes of some experts as to whether the droplets on the nightgown were blood at all. And there's never been a concrete determination that those droplets are blood. We don't know what they are. They think that they're blood because luminol picked them up, but it could have been potato juice. It could have been horseradish. She could have gotten a midnight snack, before going to bed. And these clearer but iron-rich liquids that aren't visible to the naked eye wouldn't have been noticed. Her nightgown's white. Wouldn't there have been a bunch more easy to see blood on it?
Yeah.
It has you wondering, huh?
A white nightgown? You'd see blood.
You would, especially if she was either in the bed or like on top of him, like they're kind of trying to say that she is when she shot him.
She is just an arm's length away from him.
And remember,
it was a contact.
And remember that the investigator who had gone to the scene said there was a ton of blood like up the wall, on the ceiling fan. But you're telling me that none of that would have hit her on the white nightgown?
Yeah.
Now, maybe she wasn't actually wearing that nightgown at the time. I don't know. But this is the evidence that they're trying to put her away with. And so we have to scrutinize it, you know?
Oh my God.
Yup. So
what she should have done.
But regardless.
Do it naked and then take a shower, then put your nightgown on.
Listen, always do your murdering naked.
I mean.
And in a hairnet, for God's sakes.
Gloves.
We shouldn't be giving this advice. Anyway, back to this. So, because they found the quote unquote blood spatter, this is like, they had this evidence before anything went to trial. So they luminol the nightgown as part of the investigation. Obviously, this is huge evidence that's in trial, but I kind of jumped ahead. And now at this point, it's like, all right, well, our experts say there's blood spatter on this nightgown. You're the only person that was home. The coroner report says that these are not consistent injuries with suicide. We're arresting you. So they arrested Susie and they charged her with, I believe, first-degree murder. And she was facing life in prison. She went to trial 6 months after she was charged, and Heskew's luminol findings were key to the prosecution's case. He's the one who's like, there's blood on the nightgown. She shot him.
Mm-hmm.
The Mowbray's blood-stained mattress was even brought into the courtroom. Can you even fucking imagine as a juror?
I bet it was just be like, look how much blood there fucking was.
Probably.
Whoa.
Yup. But the defense emphasized Bill's history of emotional issues and threats of suicide, as well as their expert, Bevel's testimony that the spatter evidence could indicate suicide. Despite this conflicting evidence, apparently the prosecution's case felt stronger to the jury because in June of 1988, so a year after his death, Susie was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison.
Dang.
But this is not the end of the story. For 8 years, Susie remained behind bars. Her son, Wade, became convinced of her innocence and enrolled in law school, determined to prove it.
Oh my God, Wade.
He focused on the evidence concerning his mother's nightgown. While luminol had indicated the presence of possible blood, the rest of the white gown appeared pristine. And in another major twist, it was revealed that another blood spatter expert, someone named Dr. Herbert McDonnell, had analyzed the evidence and could not confirm that the material on Susie's nightgown was blood at all. So even a blood expert couldn't tell you if it was blood.
Oh my God.
Even more significantly, the prosecution had suppressed this doctor's report, Dr. McDonnell's report that should have been testimony at the trial. They kind of squashed it because it contradicted their homicide theory. So all the evidence wasn't even presented in court because they found that
they can't do that.
No, they can't. They very much cannot do that.
Wow.
McDonnell had told prosecutors that he found no indication of bloodstains or high-velocity impact spatter on the nightgown that would have been present if Susie had shot her husband while wearing it. Susie's side disputed the luminol tests, noting that substances like horseradish can cause luminol to glow and that the nightgown hadn't been specifically tested for blood. And now it was too late.
Step 2, my dudes.
Uh-huh. In December of 1996, Susie's conviction was overturned thanks in part to her son's efforts and the suppressed evidence. So he was key to getting this case reopened, and he was helping file all of these appeals, citing this misrepresentation of evidence and suppression of evidence. And her case was overturned.
Okay, well, she does have a favorite son.
For sure. Sorry, Cricket.
Sorry, Cricket.
Wade's the favorite.
Cute name, but Wade's got it in the bag.
So she was released from prison in May of 1997 pending a new trial. The second trial began in January of 1988, a decade after Bill's death. This time, the defense highlighted Bill's, suicidal ideation, the things his behaviors, things that had been coming up in his life recently, his financial situation, the unreliable nature of the luminol evidence that the previous trial had been so set on. Because the investigators and the prosecution were trying to say that because I read this somewhere else, I guess I didn't include this in my case, but it was like Bill's brother or something, or maybe one of his kids testified that he was a side sleeper. Mm-hmm. So their theory was that Susie, while he was asleep, had like straddled him, keeping him in that sleeping position, shot him in the head, and then just like set the scene essentially and, you know, scurried away to call the business partner and then call the police.
You'd be covered in blood.
She'd be covered in blood. So maybe she changed, but we never found any evidence that she had disposed of clothing. I mean, I think was also tested for like gun residue and like that wasn't there. Like everything from the first trial really hinged on that luminol spray of the nightgown.
Yeah.
And that's why regardless, we're about to be done. So like, regardless of whether you think she did it or not, it was the right call to throw out this first trial.
Absolutely.
And represent all of the evidence. That is what she deserves as a citizen of the United States.
The whole beyond a reasonable doubt thing is really what I get hung up on.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why, like, I don't think Michael Peterson should be in jail.
Right.
I don't think Adnan Syed should be in jail.
Mm-mm.
I don't think, and it's like it's not that they could have done it. It's not that it wouldn't make for a more salacious real life and also like a neat little bow on this case.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're 50-50, that's not a reasonable doubt.
No. And frankly,
let her go.
Whether or not you think he did it isn't the point. It's whether or not the state, the prosecution, because the burden of that is on the prosecution, can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they did it. So if you have enough doubt to have that feeling in your chest that's like, I don't think I can convict this person, that's because the prosecution didn't do their job and it's your job not to convict them. Like, that's the point. Whether or not you think, well, there's a good possibility that he did it, that's not enough to sentence someone to, you know.
That was my major hang up during jury duty.
1,000%. It would be very hard. It's easy for us to sit here and talk about this when someone's life is not in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an important reminder that, like, that is the job of the state, is to prove it beyond so you have really, like, no problem saying, yeah, you fucking did it. And you can sleep great.
Not to suppress evidence.
No. Piper, no.
Piper, no.
Okay, so she's released. She gets the new trial. And even Heskew in this new trial, or maybe ahead of this new trial, conceded himself that his original trial testimony was scientifically invalid. So everything that this had hinged on, even he was like, yeah, my bad, guys. I bungled that one. I fucked that one up.
Oh, man.
Prosecutors argued that Susie could have shot Bill from behind a barrier of pillows, explaining the lack of visible blood.
Where are all the bloody pillows?
Exactly. And of course, they pointed to the insurance money. During the defense's closing arguments, Susie Mowbray, at that time 49, dramatically cried out in court, "I didn't do it!" And on January 24th, 1998, the jury returned with their verdict of not guilty.
Good.
So
I couldn't have put that woman back in jail with all this bullshit.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because jury foreman Edward Salvador did state that the not guilty verdict meant the prosecution, like we said, was unable to prove its case, not necessarily that the jury believed Susie was innocent.
Them's the rules.
Yep. So they did their job.
Wow.
Bill's daughter, Kristen Mowbray, strongly disagreed with the verdict. I don't blame her. I mean, I certainly have my doubts on this whole thing, but the state doesn't have enough, in my opinion, to do this.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kristen gets to feel how she feels about it. That's her dad. You know, this is not at all a reflection on her. She gets to disagree, and
if it was suicide,
valid.
That's such a complicated thing, especially involving a parent.
It's really hard to unpack all of that.
And if Susie did kill him and she got, you know, a not guilty verdict, that's pretty fucking hard too. I don't blame anyone for how they're responding here.
No, and this last bit is also a little bit like, really, Susie? Really, girl? did we have to do this? Because
more than the shouting out in court.
No, oh my God, Ray keeps licking you. I love it. She, after her acquittal, I guess, did still try to collect his life insurance money and was
free to sue.
I know, and was denied.
Yeah. You got your freedom, bitch. Walk away.
Yeah. So I guess there were legal battles to regain the insurance proceeds that were ultimately denied based on res judicata, meaning the issue had already been decided in a previous court judgment. It had already been decided she wasn't going to get it. So when she tried again, they weren't going to give it to her. And I guess I haven't followed up to see if she is still fighting that to this day. God willing, I hope not. Let it go. Piper, no. But either way, she did not get the 1.8 million. So yeah, I guess, what do you think? Like, was she an innocent woman wrongfully convicted, or did she get away with murder, or... Because I don't know.
Here's, again, with the Michael Peterson thing,
Mm-hmm.
you can be a weirdo, kind of shitbag person and not have killed your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And she's obviously sort of a dramatic weirdo. She was the car dealership queen or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she did it just because of how much blood there would have to be for a contact gunshot wound with a high velocity gun, whatever you said.
Yeah.
If there's blood all the way up the wall, on the sheets, soaking the bed, on the fan.
Yep.
And she has zero visible stains on her nightgown.
I agree.
And also,
and I think that if she had changed her clothes, or... Yeah, I mean, maybe she did do it naked and then shower. I don't know. But like, I feel like there would be other evidence. The fact that it's only that tiny, minuscule, literally they said not seen to the naked eye blood spatter that sealed her fate. Obviously, the motive with the life insurance is applicable, but like, we don't even know that they were arguing about that at all. We don't know that that had any impact on the marriage whatsoever. It is a totally normal thing to do, to have your insurance policies circumvent, at least that's, obviously people have multiple insurance policies, but have some that circumvent the spouse and go to the next of kin. Like, that's not an uncommon thing. Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with something like that right now with my grandma. Like, I know that this happens. So yeah, that could totally be one of those things where it looks like a smoking gun, the insurance thing, but it's actually kind of coincidental.
Also, like, how many male heads of household have killed themselves because of financial stuff? Because
Not uncommon. Have you seen the third season of White Lotus?
Yeah. That family in Waterbury.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
The family in Excelsior.
I think that's what I meant. What's Waterbury? Oh, that's in Des Moines.
Either way, it's not like we haven't heard of
it
people going even
kind
further,
of a lot.
Family annihilators from this kind of stuff.
Not to mention, women don't usually use guns like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Statistically, absolutely not. She didn't do it. If we're looking at those kinds of factors. I just... No, I couldn't. She might be a crackpot. I don't think she killed him.
No, I honestly, I don't feel strongly enough that she did that I could have convicted her either.
Yeah.
Like, I totally agree with what the foreman said. That's like, yeah, there's some shady stuff here that makes me very uneasy about her and does make me question her involvement in this incident. But the prosecution has not provided enough for me to be able to say with confidence that she did that.
The point is, here's your evidence.
It's circumstantial.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
None of it holds up.
So, yeah, I mean, luminol evidence is obviously compelling, and it's amazing that we have that technology. But when it comes down to these like minuscule samples and an entire trial hinging on that, you can't take luminol at face value. They didn't even know whether or not it was fucking blood.
It's a presumptive test in the first place.
Yep. Anyway, that's my case.
Damn.
I know. We had some good ones today.
Yeah, I liked this topic, if I do say so myself.
And it helped me rediscover my forensic files cooler. And now we have luminol.
I'm so excited to fuck with that on.
Yeah.
We got to get horseradish. We know we'll have
I'll bring my finger prick glucose monitor so that I can provide blood samples.
Hell yeah. And I will bring, not this is related, my ghost meter.
Just in case.
Just in case.
I'll bring my dowsing rods.
Want to go now?
Yeah.
We'll meet the other guys there in 2 weeks.
So that we can just get there 2 weeks early, please.
We're going to Lake Pepin.
On these dates. And this is the address.
Thank you so much for listening. And once again, if you want to hear this episode and all of our episodes ad fucking free.
So free of ads, it'll blow your mind.
It'll blow your load. Head on over to Uncorked.
Yes.
Go to our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com. Click on Uncorked. Find more info.
Love it.
Love it. Well, we love you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.